second episode. And today's guest, I have the honor and the privilege to returning back to Future Prospects, but on a different platform, is Olivia Rose. And Olivia Rose has graced our show many times, but now here to share with us the issues of our pandemic, the unnormal, the changes, the self-reflection, keeping this shot, giving it over to Olivia. Hi, Olivia.
Hi, Joy. It's nice being back. I mean, a totally different platform. This is kind of a really neat way of doing the show. I really like it, especially getting to be from the comfort of my home. But definitely new. I like the new. I guess you could say there's a lot of new going on right now, especially with everything going on in our world. There's so many different changes we've had to make, so many different adjustments here and there. And I know my family's had to make a really big one since coming home from university, but no place I'd rather be. That's for sure. No place.
All right. So listen, what I want you to do, Pumpkin, because some viewers know of you, some might not know of you, right? Because you've been off the screen for a while. So
yeah.
Just reintroduce yourself back to the viewers and let's take it from there, pretty girl.
Oh, wow. There's definitely a lot. I mean, for those who don't know me quite yet, I just turned 19 this April, so we celebrated my first COVID-19th birthday. Yeah. I go to the University of Ottawa. I'm in International Studies and Modern Languages, so I learn politics, history, multiple languages at the same time. So very go, 24/7. I'm very big on advocating for youth empowerment. Oh gosh, there's so much. Those who do know me though, I guess it might come as a shock to say that this year's definitely been crazy. Anybody who's seen mine or my mom's social media has seen me in and out of the hospital.
Right.
Right. I have had so far 3 surgeries this year.
Hold there for a minute. Hold there. Because we've got an hour show. You've just come from segment 1 to segment 4. So
oh my goodness.
That's okay, because you're excited. So I'm going to ask you now. You're a university student attending Ottawa U, right?
Yeah.
All right, Pumpkin. So when did you come back to Allison? When did you return home?
I came back around midway through March, right before St. Patrick's Day. I was sent home from university because of the pandemic. They recommended that everybody try to go home if they can. So my parents came and picked me and my roommate up. We moved me back home, and I've been here ever since.
All right. Now, share the story of your health issues that you've encountered coming back home. So what happened in Ottawa with your health and then dealing with it from there, so we can kind of give the viewers a little bit of a slice of the pie, enjoying it all the time.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Oh, I don't know where to begin. Ottawa's definitely been unique. Like I said before, I'm very big on getting people involved, getting people engaged. I had a lot of fun trying my hand at that in university and getting myself engaged. I tried a bunch of different little things like a model parliament, which was really neat, getting to sit in the House of Commons, getting to debate with a lot of my fellow peers. I think there was at least 200 of us there. So it was really neat getting to try my hand at what could be to come. So what could come with my university degree, where I could go with it. But it's been a lot of work. I think one thing that a lot of youth can attest to for this is university is a lot of work. It's a lot of study time, a lot of crack down on assignments. It's a lot of just kind of grit your teeth and go, okay, I've just got to get through this next assignment, and then I have a bit of a break and I can have some fun with my friends. So it's definitely a whole different ballgame from university. But I mean, in the same sense, I had one more aspect on top of that, and that was being a little bit further away from home. Most of my friends only live an hour away. I live 5 hours away. So It's definitely this Skype thing's not new to me in a sense. Like I've been using a lot of these video platforms for when I was in Ottawa to see my family, see my siblings. So it's definitely something I've kind of been adjusting to as we've been going around. Skype is definitely a great tool for those who live farther away from home.
All right. Share with the viewers now, hon. Okay, you're home. You had to come home because all the universities went online. But what are you dealing with, which is a big part of your story and many parts of your story?
Most of us were dealing with just the aspect of coming home, trying to get university students to come back, trying to deal with a shift to online. I mean, it's definitely been, I don't want to say challenging, but it kind of is challenging when you've got 3 siblings here at home. All of us need to use the internet in a rural area where internet's not the greatest all the time.
Yes.
And I've got 1 elementary student at home, my brother, 1 high school student, my sister, and then myself in university. So all of us are kind of vying for the computers, vying for the time online to get our studies done. So most university students coming home are dealing with that. They're dealing with I've got my younger siblings, or my parents. Everybody's had some shifts. I've had the one more that we've mentioned on top of that, my health being a little just crazy all over the place. But coming home for university, it's been interesting. I've seen so many people who you see them losing hope, and here in a house of 3, I'm sure larger families can attest to it, and even smaller families, you really can't lose that sense of hope. In a time like this, everybody kind of has to work together. Everybody's got to help each other out where they can and do their part. I mean, it's certainly not easy not being able to go out and see everybody and not being able to go see my relatives. But in the same sense, if we don't do this and we don't social distance and we don't quarantine if we've gone away, if we don't isolate when we have to, we're not going to get anywhere with this. And it's really hard seeing people just go around and not take it as seriously as they need to, and putting so many other people at danger. For me, like I said, there's my health. And so for me to see people totally going off the rails and still not doing what they need to do to make things a little bit easier and a little bit safer, it makes it harder for someone like me to go back out, because now I'm immunocompromised, and I never thought I'd be in that place. I always kind of thought, I am healthy, I am active and fit, and I am school oriented. Everything will be a breeze. So coming home, it's definitely not been a breeze.
Okay.
But you just kind of got to keep positive, and you got to keep going. And
right.
I watch your show every time it comes on air, and I make sure that I watch all the promotional videos, all the advertisements, all the full-length shows. I watch it all, because it's just a touch of joy, that little touch of inspiration that I need in a day.
Thank you, hon. But there's part of your series. Yeah, you could write a book about Olivia Rose, but I don't want to lose this part of the first segment, and I'm just watching the minutes here because I'm watching the time. Is that there was something dramatic that happened to you while you are at university, and how you came back and dealt with it. So what happened with you health-wise, hon?
At the end of January, so it's definitely not a great time, but at the very beginning of my second semester in Ottawa, out of nowhere, I ended up in the hospital for severe pains. We had no clue what it was till we got there. So I ended up finding out, instead of just having 1 normally functioning kidney, I have 1 kidney that has a little extra tube to it. So you're supposed to have 1 tube that drains everything properly. I have 2. And the 1 just doesn't drain properly. So it got severely infected, basically to the point where it was just causing so much pain. So I ended up, as I said, I went through 3 surgeries from January through to March. One of which was to put a tube in my back. So I currently have what's called a nephrostomy tube. So it comes out of my back, drains into a little pouch. It's kind of nasty details, but
that's okay. Life.
It's something else, right? It's definitely a weird experience having a nephrostomy tube, because where most people could go on a jog for half an hour to an hour, or walk their dog, or go biking, I can't do any of that. I can't really grocery shop, because I walk for 10 minutes and my back starts to hurt to the point where I need to lay down for the rest of the day.
That's
I
right.
can't lift heavy objects, because if I lift heavy objects, once again, I'm in pain for the rest of the day. And there's really nothing I can do about that while I have this tube. So it's been really weird having it and having to readjust my whole life and everything I've been doing to kind of fit this tiny little tube. And so, okay, I can't go grocery shopping because I'll be walking for 10 minutes and it'll hurt. But I can wash the dishes at home and I can do this at home. I can't do certain things, but there are other ways that I can help out around the house still.
Right.
So feeling like that's been very, very challenging and interesting, because it gives you a different perspective. It really does give you a whole new perspective on what it means to be healthy and what it means to be active.
That's right.
To go from karate level martial artist kind of activity to, all right, I'm here in my chair and I won't be moving for 20 minutes.
That's right. But
I have one more I'm waiting for now, so I have to wait for that surgery.
Right. You know, Olivia, when we talked off camera for our pre-interview, because I had to embrace everything that had happened to you, but now dealing with the pandemic, dealing with a health issue, waiting for surgery, finishing school, that's what I wanted you to kind of update the viewers with. Now, we have to go to break soon, so I'm watching the time to not miss it. So how is it that how did you keep the mental strength by having a health change to you and all of a sudden going into exams, finals? And then I'm going to have to cut you off and then go to break. So don't be offended there.
No worries. I think the short and sweet answer is a lot of arts. I kind of took a page out of an old friend of mine's book that we haven't spoken a long time, but she was so big on advocating for the arts, and Veronica was so amazing with it, and I definitely took a page out of there. And arts, music, it all really helps.
Awesome, honey. On that note, we're going to go to break. We're going to come back, guys. Stay tuned. Future Prospects Guide with Olivia Rose. We'll be right back. Second segment, Future Prospects Guide with Olivia Rose. Olivia, that was phenomenal, honey. Phenomenal.
Thanks.
Now, in the first segment, you talked about returning home. Now, you returned home in the pandemic, final exams, right?
Yeah.
Finals. You had to write the baby online with nobody to help you through it. So share with the viewers, how did you deal with that, pretty girl? Plus your health issues too.
Oh my, it's been a really interesting semester, Joy. It really has. I mean, I got really lucky. I only had to write, I think, two. Yeah, I think I only had to write two of my exams, but it was completely online. I didn't have any really communicate with my professors for most of the month of April, which is when my exams were, because my internet's been down. So trying to get a hold of my professors to be like, okay, how can I write my exams if I can't access them, was fun. It worked, but there was a lot of stress that went with it. It's been a lot of reading, a lot of art, a lot of coloring books to try and, in those in-between moments of, okay, I can study or I can try and relax a little bit. I usually went with the relax a little bit.
What kind of art were you doing, honey?
I love painting. I really do. I took a little page out of my sister's book. I take a little page out of everyone's books here and there, and a lot of people have really great ideas, and I kind of like to build off them. And my sister paints a lot. So I've been painting a lot of different things, I guess fairly similar. I tried my hand at scenery, I tried a bird. I've tried sunsets. I've tried there was that trend for a while with the galaxy theme, so I tried that.
The what?
Pardon?
The what theme? What was that?
There was this big trend going on for galaxy themes. So I'm just looking at space and stars. So I tried that.
Oh, okay.
I think it went really well. I learned that if you take a paintbrush, you can like flick it on another paintbrush and it'll look like stars. It was super fun, super messy, but super fun. 19 years old and I'm still learning new tricks about painting. And I've got one on the go right now that I started right when I came home. And I have no clue what I'm going to paint with it yet. But right now it's just a bunch of pinks and blues and purples. And I'm going to figure it out when I get there.
So how did that help you dealing with the pandemic, just fresh, right? Because it was March, I believe, going into April. Then dealing with that, mentally keeping you calm. Just share with the viewers and a lot of youth out there, how did you apply that, Olivia? How did you do that?
I think a lot of it just came to it just kind of took my mind off of what was going on around me.
Right.
It's not easy not being able to go out. I've said it once, I've said it a million times. I want to be able to go back out and enjoy myself with my friends, with my family, with my peers. I can't do that right now. So having some loud music and a paintbrush, it's just a way to kind of turn my brain off for a little bit of time and just go, okay, whatever comes out on this canvas is coming out on this canvas. And it's just an expression of what's going on. And it's a nice way to de-stress from, like I said, exams, projects. I wrote a 15-page paper. So in between writing this paper, going to the hospital, going to weekly clinic visits, I was painting on the side and coloring in my coloring books on the side. So it's just a really nice way to relax. My mom and sister and brother all do it with us. So it's really fun painting, especially when you're painting in a group. So you guys can just sit down, and sometimes we use paintbrushes, sometimes we use our hands.
Nice.
I like to use hands. I like to just throw my hands on the canvas and just see what comes out. There's
awesome.
one, and it's just behind me. I don't know if it's in view, but it's a tree with handprints. That was, I think that's one of my favorites. It was, I think, my little brother and I just putting handprints onto a canvas and then painting underneath.
Right. So what you're doing is creating memories so you can share, because as our last guest, Carol Ware, was saying, is what are we going to tell? Because this is history in the making here now, right? This is history, right? So you can share that. They'll come to your house and say, what's that picture all about, Olivia? And you'll go and then you can get into your story. But I want you to share something that you got through with your school. I want you to share how it is to keep the mental mind straight and what it worked out for you with your exam. Because I know sometimes you're very modest and very humble, but I want you to celebrate what you did, girl.
Like I said, it's been challenging. So to come out with a really strong semester, definitely, it makes me really proud.
Yes.
Because I don't know how many people can say they've gone through 3 surgeries, weekly clinic visits, constant just health battlings, and then on top of it, a pandemic, and then on top of it, having to move back home. Right. Then on top of that, just everything that's gone on, and come out with super high grades, very large accomplishments. It's something definitely to be proud of. I mean, I walked out of all my classes with high 80s and low 90s. So it's something that, despite all the struggles and adversities, it's something that I get to look back on and be very proud of, that, wow, I did that. And I was in the hospital?
Yes.
It's something else. It's something that I'm definitely going to look back on, and I'm going to laugh and go, no way am I doing that again. No way. I'm done with it. So it's, I think, like I said before, you got to look at everything with a really positive mindset. And I've been definitely trying my best to do that. The big one being waiting for my next surgery. So we did find out that I'm on a waiting list. I might get the surgery. So we're all really excited, and every little bit of good news is still really good news to us. Yes. We're all really excited when something good happens. And I think that's the way to be. Because even
Absolutely.
though I can't go out and I can't go see my boyfriend, I can't go out and see all my friends and celebrate their birthdays, I can still have a lot of fun and with video chatting and still have a lot of fun just being a kid again.
Right.
And I
There's,
think that's good.
there's something that you shared with me when the social distancing right now is the big thing to flatten the curve. Because let's be realistic
Yeah.
here, folks. We don't do and we don't apply to what the Prime Minister and all the health organizations are saying. We're going to reverse back. So, just to keep it
Yeah.
clear and straight, what is it that you'd love to see youth do, even though they want to meet their friends and whatever? What is your application and message to them?
I think especially for youth and looking at what it's been like for my little sister. My
Right.
brother is a bit more like me at times. Sometimes he's just very introverted. But my sister is very big on being social. And for her, this has definitely been a major challenge. So I think the big thing that youth really need to understand and really need to internalize is you staying home that day instead of going out with your friends, you making sure you wash your hands every time you have to go out, you finding something fun to do at home, whether it's board game night with your family, whether it's painting like we do here, whether it's, I don't know, learning a new skill, cooking, dancing, all of that is a major accomplishment right now.
Right.
In the world we're living in, it's so important that everyone does their part and flatten the curve because we all want to get back to normal. And for youth who really want to get back out and do everything, I think just keep being strong. Just keep your head up, just keep your chin up, keep smiling because it's not going to, if we all do our part, it's going to be a lot easier to flatten the curve and it'll be a lot sooner for everyone to go back to normal.
You got it, girl. 2 minutes more before we go over to break. Have you found another strength of yourself inside through this that you've brought out?
I definitely think so. I definitely think I've learned a lot about myself.
Mm.
I think, you know, from the first time we've met to now, I'd like to think that I'm still me. I'm still Olivia, but I feel like I'm a whole different person. I don't think the Olivia that met you, what is it, 2-3 years ago now? I don't think 3 years. Oh my goodness. I don't think that Olivia was nearly as confident in herself or nearly as strong as she is now. And I definitely think, despite all the adversities that I've seen this year, I think I come out of it stronger every time. And I think the more that's been thrown at me, the stronger I've gotten. And I'd like to think that, you know, this pandemic, I'm going to look back on it and I'm going to say, wow, that was easy one day.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm ready for that. I'm mostly ready to get back.
Yes. Why a challenge is so good, hon? Why a challenge is so good?
Challenges teach you a lot of different things. I mean, like I said, I've done a lot of reflection on myself. I've learned a lot about myself through this, but it also really shows you just the character of others. Yes. It definitely shows you, especially in a global pandemic, it really shows you who really truly cares, who really truly understands. Absolutely. I have one friend and she is the kindest person I've ever met. And I met her in Ottawa at school. And every single day she sends me a message or she'll send me a picture of her with her cat or a funny video she's seen. So it definitely shows you judgment of others isn't necessary. There is no reason to really judge others. And something like this teaches you it's so important to be kind. You never know what somebody is going through. And you never know really everybody's true story. So it's so important to be kind. And my one friend is just so unbelievably kind to everyone she meets. She is someone that I definitely look up to.
Right. Has it strengthened the meaning of patience?
Definitely. Absolutely. Patience is it's it's not even just patients for the pandemic anymore, or patients for the surgery, or patients for anything like the government. It's patience for yourself and
Yep.
learning when to hold your tongue. There are so many times where normally I'd probably fight with my siblings, and now I'm just happy that they're healthy and that they're safe, and we get mad at each other, but they're always safe. And I
Yeah.
think it's so important to be patient. Like I said, if you're patient and if you wait and you're careful, everything will go back to normal. But you also got to be patient with yourself and really learn to bite your tongue when you can and just be happy.
You got it, girl. You know something? That's why I love you, Olivia. That's why I love you, because you're real. You're a girl that's got an amazing story. And boy, I'm going to see you in Parliament someday. On that note, we're going to go to break. Guys, stay tuned. Future Prospects, Rogers TV. We'll be right back with Olivia Rose. See you soon. Hey guys, welcome back to Future Prospects Skype with Olivia Rose. Olivia, that was great, honey. And I know we put it's like a slice of bread, right? We took the slice
Yeah.
of bread and we layer that baby with some peanut butter. Let's go crunchy peanut butter with some favorite strawberry jam. And everybody's looking and I know, look at the lips. Ooh. But now everybody's looking and going, okay, great. But let's get into the reality check here. Let's give back some reflections on when this really came down with your health. Me, I'm going through surgery, I'm going through school. All of a sudden, I got to lock up for a couple of weeks. Like, this is not happening to a young person like me. It's supposed to be out, sitting on the patio at the marketplace and chilling out. Like, what did you go through? What were some moments where you're like, excuse my expression, guys, damn?
I think the hardest moment was the day it happened. I
Right.
think there's hard moments that have came after, but the hardest was the day it happened, mostly because I was terrified. If you want the absolute honest truth, I was terrified
That's what I want.
because I'm 5 hours away from home. I have no way of knowing what's wrong with me because I've never experienced a pain like that in my life. I've never looked at my roommate she is one of my best friends. I've known her all throughout high school, and to look at her and say, please sedate me. I've never wanted that in my life before because just it was unbearable. I wanted to be put out. So to sit in a waiting room and everybody around me nobody even looked to be in discomfort. Most people were just sitting on their phone in the waiting room of the ER. And then there's me and one other girl, and we're sobbing. And we're in wheelchairs because we can't move.
Guess what?
It was insane.
We just got the internet.
That's fantastic. I'm recording a show. Here, come on. You want to come on? Come here, Briar. Come say hi.
Oh my God, you're recording a show?
All right.
So this is, okay, the girl in the background who's slowly coming into view. This is my little sister, Briar.
I
who-
meant
Hi,
to do it.
Brian.
Oh, but I'm introducing you to the viewers.
Oh.
You're on
So-
TV.
So I'm so sorry. Oh my
That's
God.
okay.
this
Don't
is-
apologize. It's all good. Internet.
No, I was just actually I was about to talk about my sister because despite being terrified, I ended up calling my mom. And my mom and my sister and my grandma came up to Ottawa. So it was weird. I'm sure Briar can attest to this. It was very strange.
It was scary.
Yeah, because nobody knew what was wrong. By the time they got there, I was just coming out of surgery. The entire time they were there, I was basically crying because I was in constant pain.
Wow.
So it was very, very surreal. Knowing that my little sister and my mom were seeing that, and knowing my dad was at home with my brother, it was surreal. My boyfriend was there. Like I said, my boyfriend and my best friend were there the entire week with my mom and my sister and my grandma. And I think the worst night might have been the night that you stayed there and that I couldn't do anything. I think
No, that was
because that was
heartbreaking.
the hardest night was the only night my sister stayed in the hospital with me, and it was the night I was in the most amount of pain. And then when they left, it was right around the time they discharged me. So to go back to not having my mom, definitely terrifying.
Yes, honey. Yes. Okay.
It's something else. It was because I had to take time off school, and I was bedridden, so I had to take time off school. And then when I was able to come back to school, it was a whole other ballgame of trying to catch up. I was behind in school for weeks. I ended up doing terribly on one of my midterms. It was a rough roller coaster. And then right as I started picking everything back up and I was on track, all my grades were picked up, I was in the hospital again having another surgery because my tube came out of place and my stitches came out. So I went from almost being back to normal and just getting over missing my parents again to I'm right back in the hospital because my tube's out of place. Oh my gosh, what do I do? What are you supposed to think in that moment? Emailing all of your professors, hey, I'm sorry, I have to miss your class again because I'm back in the hospital. Emailing them, being home. I know we talked about it right when I came out of the hospital. I ended up being admitted again. What was it now? Last week? Yeah, I think it was last week.
It was last week.
I was admitted again. So to be in and out of the hospital 4 times in the matter of 4 months, it was hard. I definitely don't wish this on anyone. I definitely don't want anyone to feel what I felt because it was terrifying and it was a lot of struggle of, am I going to get my grades back up? Am I going to be able to stay in my program? I have a minimum average I have to meet in my program. And at one point I wasn't meeting that.
Right.
So there was that little doubt in my mind of, am I going to make it? And then to know that I was able to kind of change everything around, get all my grades back up. It was so super important for me hearing back from all my professors that I ended up having high 90s or I guess not high. I had 90s, which is super high. And I was so overwhelmed with emotion getting my grades back. I was so overwhelmed coming home. Most people, it's like you said, they want to be out on the marketplace. They want to be on the patio. Coming home and dealing with everything with my health at home, the pandemic has been a curse and a blessing because it's definitely opened my eyes on how much I definitely still need my parents at times, and I definitely still need that support sometimes.
Okay.
Whereas I thought I could handle it on my own.
All right. What's the curse part of the pandemic that you had to deal with?
The curse part of it is giving up that freedom. I got a little taste of it for my first semester, and I loved being out there. I loved the city of Ottawa with everything in me. I was able to do a climate change protest, or I guess not a protest. Yeah, a protest. I got to march for climate change, and I got to go to Parliament Hill. I got to meet some very amazing people. I met my boyfriend, who
What's his name?
His name's Grant.
Okay.
So he ended up staying with me in the hospital every chance he could.
He was there majority of the time.
He was, other than when I would tell him to go back to class. I would have to tell him, please go back to class. It's okay. I'm okay. You're in my, I would joke around when I was in high spirits saying, you have to go back to class because you're in my French class. I need you to tell me what's going on.
Right.
So I guess the curse part is giving up that freedom and giving up just a little bit, because we're all going to get it back. Giving up that freedom, giving up a lot of interesting things that were supposed to happen at the end of the year, a lot of missing out on my friends' birthday parties, missing out on just a lot of different things. My grandfather's birthday was the week after mine. So the curse part of the pandemic is having to retreat back to your house and go, okay, I have to take a step back so everybody can be safe. But the blessing is it reminds everyone of how important family is.
Yes.
And how important it is that people really do have to be safe so that way people like me can get back in that hospital, get that last surgery, and get back to normal.
That's what I wanted you to touch upon, because the importance of there's only elective surgeries right now, correct? There's only certain surgeries.
Not elective. It's only emergency surgery. I'm considered. Yeah.
Right. So now you're a person that wants the surgery, but if we all don't keep our little tooties in our seats to make the flatten the curve, that's what your concern was with me on the phone, hon. When you called me and you were frustrated, how did you deal with that?
Oh, there was a little bit of tears. I'll admit that the frustration. I have one friend and she doesn't necessarily stay home all the time. She definitely does her part, but she doesn't quite do as much as one of my friends who hasn't left his house in 6 weeks. So
Right.
I think a lot of the dealing with it has been the art. It's been the reading. It's been the having to have my sister help me as much as I can, doing everything. You can't see it from here, but I have a little plant that I just planted a little baby tree.
Oh.
I have a little baby. Oh, my sister's gonna go grab it for me. I have a little baby tree that I started growing.
Okay.
About a week ago. Thank you.
I got you.
So here it is. It hasn't even sprouted yet, but I've started growing a tree.
Oh, okay.
It's super small but super cute. I've got posters up again. I've basically, since coming home, I've kind of reorganized my room and put all my artwork up, put all sorts of posters and little inspirational messages up. Just kind of made my room the most positive, bright, upbeat thing I can have. So that way, even when I am feeling down or when I am in one of those days where I can't move because I'm in pain, it's still something to be bright and shiny.
Yes. There was something that you said that Michael shared. There's something that you said before we go to break that you shared with us, that Michael shared with us. And he says, I like to listen to the music loud. Why is it that young people now listen to the music more so loud? And he had it loud. So why is that? Like, just share with that, because the youth can relate to that.
I mean, I can definitely relate to where Michael's coming from. The louder the music is, I think the quieter my thoughts are. It's very relaxing and it keeps me from overthinking. But it's also really fun to just blast your music and dance with your siblings, or to blast your music and read a book, or to paint, or to do whatever it is that you like to do. I love loud music, but I like music languages. So I listen to a lot of French and a lot of Spanish music, because a lot of the songs that I've found in these other languages are super upbeat, super positive messages. So it not only helps me kind of learn the languages I'm trying to learn, but it's something that's really fun to dance to, and kind of just quiets your brain. And it's fun hanging out with my sister and playing music. So I definitely relate to where Michael's coming from there.
Awesome, honey. You're the best, girl. We got to go to break. Love you. Love you, your sister back there, sweetheart. We'll be right back, guys, with Olivia Rose, Future Prospect Skype. Love you. Be back. With Olivia Rose on Skype. That was pretty deep, my friend. That was pretty deep, and that was from your heart. And I love you for sharing that, because it was a reality check, and also dealing with the emotions and everything, and getting through it, and still continually going through it. But now we're in the last segment. Your parents aren't here right now to share with it, but I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and I want to kind of get Grant in there because he's been a real great support for you, your boyfriend. But with your mom, with the pandemic, how has she dealt with it, with being at home with her children and everything?
I want to say that it hasn't been easy. I mean, it's really stressful. Some families have been really unlucky and both parents are at home. Some
Right.
families have been fortunate and both parents are at work. We're kind of in this in-between stage where my dad gets to go to work every day and my mom's at home. So it's kind of stressful for my mom to begin with to not be at work, but on top of that to deal with once a week having to go to a clinic, once a week having to make sure that my back is properly cared for. Like, you know, it was hard enough, I think, knowing that I was in Ottawa 5 hours away. I definitely think it's easier knowing I'm home, but I think it's definitely made my parents a little more nervous with the pandemic and being home because, like I said, there's so much more they have to deal with now. I mean, the hardest was, I think, for them probably having me admitted to the hospital last week because they're not allowed in there with me.
Right.
They can't get in there to advocate for me. They can't step foot in that hospital. They have to just trust that the hospital is putting me in their best care, and they have to just trust that I'm going to be okay on my own. And that's not easy to deal with on my part, but it's also not easy for them. And to see the worry and stress on their face as this pandemic's going on of how do we make sure that everything's okay for all three of our kids on top of having one that's compromised. How do we make sure that everything's safe and sanitary for her so that way she doesn't have to stress out so much? How do we make sure we can support her and our other two children and help them with schoolwork and help them make sure that they're calm, cool, and collected during this pandemic? It was definitely not easy. My mom is very emotionally in tune, is the nice way to say it. She's very emotionally in tune, and my dad is very quietly worried, I think.
Yeah.
They're both worried and they're both stressed out and they're both just kind of wanting to be sure that everything they're doing is okay and everything they're doing is safe. And it's not easy. As a parent, I'm sure that you can definitely relate to this one with your son. And my parents are constantly worried and hoping that people just kind of listen and hoping for good news each day. And I think that's really all we can do. And it's really hard to try and reassure your parents when you're in pain that, no, I'm okay, it'll pass. No, I'm okay, don't worry. No, I can't eat right now because I feel sick to my stomach. I'll eat later. It's not easy.
That's right. How did you meet Grant? Just give us around 2 minutes of Grant, because I want to try and get some other stuff in here.
Grant is so amazing. I really do think that I got lucky meeting him. I met him on the very first day of class, like September, I think it was September the 6th, his first day of class. I met him on my French class with, so it was kind of nerve-wracking because not only you kind of like, you meet this person that you're definitely interested in, but now you can't speak to this person in English. So you're speaking to him in a second language going, I just hope that I know what I'm doing enough that he understands what I'm saying. So we started out as friends in French class, and we were paired for lots of different little assignments together. Slowly but surely, we started hanging out after class, and it was just very gradual, but it started out as friends. I mean, he is one of my closest friends on top of being one of my biggest supports.
Right.
I definitely feel lucky having somebody that I started as friends with and who kind of just knows who I am as a person. And to have had him sit in the hospital with me for a week.
Right.
It definitely helped.
Right.
It made it a lot easier knowing that he was there and that hopefully this is the hardest challenge we have to go through.
Right.
But I think it strengthened our relationship very early on, having gone through this, because it gave us a whole new meaning of, okay, how do we help each other and how do we support each other?
Right.
So he is the funniest, most just relaxed kind of guy, and I know I'm very high energy, very go go go. So he's
Yes,
very
you are.
mellow, and it kind of
Right.
hmm?
You
It
are.
definitely
You definitely
me
are.
out.
Yeah.
He
Now,
definitely mellows me out a bit.
that's great, honey. I don't want to miss out. I don't want to miss out because it's only the last segment, so I'm trying to get
Yeah.
everything in here. I love you have that support. I know you've found somebody that loves you very dearly, which you care for him, also love him very dearly. Now, the new norm is coming into effect all around us. The new norm, right? Are you prepared for this? Telling what is it when you, I want you to speak to the viewers like you're talking to youth, which you are. So, how are you going to deal with the new norm as a young person?
I definitely, I definitely a lot. I really do think that this new norm, a lot, the younger generation, I think, is very prepared for this, as you just witnessed off screen. Me trying to plug my phone in. I didn't know that, you could plug your phone into your computer.
Oh,
So the younger generation, I think, kind of has this leg up
yep.
with the whole technology, and it's something I'm learning a lot from my siblings, is how to use technology, how to use Instagram to do these. You can have video calls with, like, I had like 5 or 6 of my friends all on one video chat, and even though I can't see them physically, I can still see and talk to them. I can Skype with you. I think adjusting to this new normal is not the easiest,
Right.
but I definitely think that despite it not being the easiest, it's something that we can adapt to. I mean, if I can learn how to plug my phone into my computer, I am sure that I will also figure out how to do multiple different forms of video chat. And I think that's definitely helped. I video chat with my friends very often. I got that Snapchat app quite a while back, and I can like send pictures and, be like, hey guys, look, we just planted this stuff in our garden, or hey, look, we're on the ATV going around the fields. I don't know. It's social media is a lot of people need to know that social media can be used for good, and that
Yes.
it can be used in a very positive manner. And I like how you use it, and you always put out a very positive message on your social media, and you
Thank
always remind people to be joyful. So I think more people need to see that. More people need to use their social media to the best of their abilities to connect with one another. More people need to pick up the phone and call their grandparents once in a while.
Yep.
I myself included, I never realized how hard it was going to be not seeing my grandparents, or not seeing my aunts and my uncles. Like I miss them so dearly.
Yes.
But in an age where technology is so advanced now, I can call them at any time of the day, and I can still say hi and I love them. So while I definitely think I miss everybody, I think adjusting to this new normal, I think we've got it in the bag. I
All
think
right.
with I think with technology, I think the other thing with technology, and like I've always said, is using it smart, and using it so that way you know what you're reading, and you're not reading fake news, you're not reading lies, you're not focusing on the negative. I try my best to use my social media as positively as I can, and make sure that I'm reading facts and not fiction, make sure I'm reading uplifting stories and not just heartbreaking tales. I think people need to remind themselves that there's a lot of good in this world, and we just have to keep holding on to it.
Don't you feel now, honey? I don't want to lose this part here. I don't want to ask you as I'm watching the minutes here. I'll join you on that real fast. That it's time that youth can shine now. They can use all their strengths more than ever now. What's your view on that, leader?
I think social media is one of the most unique ways for youth to put their talents out there. There's,
Right now, though, Olivia, right now that the pandemic is down, it's down here. How is it that they can use their voice to advocate for positive change?
oh, okay. I've got one friend, and because this is all going down, she and her brother wrote a song. And in order to help people kind of remind themselves that there is good and that to be more positive, they wrote a really uplifting song and just threw it out on every form of social media they could find. I've seen little children, like my cousins, do little paintings and put them in their windowsills and just
Nice.
remind everybody around them that, hey, it's going to get better. Look at what we've just painted. Have this to brighten your day. Or people, I did this for one of my friends. I took a bunch of pictures of all the books that me and my friends were going to exchange once this was over, and started sending them to my friends, because I can't go and physically give them the book, but I
Right.
can still do little book talks with them and still exchange ideas. I've seen a lot of what I do at home being put online. A lot of the art, a lot of the dance and the music, a lot of that I've seen goes right up into the social media now for everybody to see.
Yeah.
And mostly from youth. I've seen a lot of youth kind of cling on to any little ray of hope and throw it
Right.
out there for everyone to see. And I think that's absolutely beautiful that they're doing that. And it's so important that they're doing that, because everybody needs to see that right now. It's important to know what's going on, but to see youth kind of stand up and go, hey, if we can do it, so can you.
That's right.
I think that's such an important message, and it definitely helps me keep more positive in the day.
You got it,
Yeah.
girl. What is it that you love about yourself through all of this, pretty girl? Come on, we got many, but give me one. Strength?
I've learned a lot about perseverance.
Yep.
I think I'm definitely proud of the perseverance that I found, and just there's this new little strength, I think, that I've found in myself and found in others, and the importance of, like I said, I'm very headstrong. I know this. I love to do things on my own and, kind of take charge for myself, but persevering through the hard and learning to lean on others and use the supports I have. Out of all of this, I think that will be the thing I'm most proud of myself taking out of this pandemic, is perseverance and remaining hopeful and just learning to lean on others around me.
Awesome. Real quickly, what's your message to you through this? Quickly, real quick.
Find a touch of joy. That is my message. I watch, like I said, I watch all your shows. I listen to inspirational messages. I listen to uplifting songs. Find a touch of joy, even if it's something really little like planting in the garden, even if it's just coloring in a coloring book or reading a book. Find a touch of joy.
Love you, girl. We gotta go. You're coming back. I wish you all Godspeed with your health. Love you. Bye, guys.
Love you, joy.
Bye, honey.